everyone, this is Lisa Marie from Artistry by Lisa Marie. Welcome to the studio. Okay, last time I talked about drawing straight hair, just straight forward. This is how you draw some hair, add some lighting, add some shadows, get a little texture. Boom, you've got some hair going on a person's face. This time we're going to have a little more fun with it, and what we're going to do today is add a little bit more texture around the hair. So instead of just very straightforward hair, we're gonna have wavy hair. I'm quickly just drawing a head because, you know, I need a head to draw hair on. And yes, I'm just gonna quickly sketch this out real fast because that's how I do. Could have done this before I started, but you know, I quickly just sat down to get this going. So gonna just quickly draw a face. Not the most amazing face because that's not the focus of this video today. Should I do a video about sketching faces and drawing faces? Would anyone be interested in that? I don't know. I feel like I just quickly sketch and draw faces a lot, and I don't know if people would be really interested in that or if that would just bore you people. Okay, so there we go. We have a face real quick, but she's bald, so we have to add hair. Now, again, we did straight hair. Now we're going to do some curly hair, and just like before, we're going to put hair in sections. So there's a lot of different ways that hair can grow out of a head, a lot of different ways you can style hair, but we're going to do wavy hair, just sort of like flowing and freely doing its own thing around her head. And to do wavy hair, instead of just doing straightforward block sections or long triangles like you would do with very straight hair, instead we're going to do S's, very loose S's. So that's an S. We're going to do a very loose S. So just think of that shape, a very loose, fun, free-flowing S. You can practice a couple times if you want. Just S's. They don't have to be even looking like S's by the time you're done, but that's the shape for wavy hair for when you're even blocking out the sections. So we're going to have, say she's going to have some wavy hair over here. So there's an S. Loose. Doesn't even look like an S by the time you're done. There's an S. And now you can make the S points connect. So you could do, maybe there's another S shape there. Look, the points connect. Another S shape there. The points connect. Another S shape. So there's a section. Another S shape over here. Maybe another one right here. Points connect. At the very end, we're connecting. I guess she's going to have a side part. I'm just sort of free-flowing here. So, look at that. Connecting ends. There's maybe a little S shape there, S shape there. Oh, I should probably give her a neck. Look at that, we gave her a neck. So, and then you keep doing that section by section. And you can do that. You can have smaller little S sections. You can have large S sections. There's a loose S. There's a loose S. You can have her hair go a bit bigger, especially because the hair grows out of the head. So out of the top of the head, it grows out, and then it falls down. So out and then down, out and then down. The thing with wavy hair is it doesn't just go straight out and then down, like straight hair, out, down. Gravity just pulls it down. Wavy hair goes out and then down with a fun little wave in it. So another big section right here. Fun S's that all end like that. We're just doing the sections right now. Say this is, she has a body. There you go. Look at that. She's got a body. So now we can see where her hair would fall over her shoulders. Okay, so now we have that. Real quick, I have my graph gear pencil, some paintbrushes, and my Mono Zero eraser. If you don't have this, you can also use a kneaded eraser or any eraser you have. Just want to get a nice fine point or sharp or smaller end, sharper end, just so you can do some erasing. So we're going to erase part of her head here because, you know, look at that. You could also just use a paintbrush. I use paintbrushes for drawing all the time. So that's why they're here with me. And I'll put links to everything I'm using in the video description if you want to get some for your own studio. Alright, so now we have the hair sectioned out. We did our nice loose S's. We connected the ends to points. But now we want to do more. This is just a line drawing. We want to add some shadow, some volume, some texture, some dimension. So first we need to know, where is our light source coming from? Where's our light coming from? Well, today I'm going to draw a little lamp right here. Look at that. There's a lamp. Pew, pew, pew. There's our light source. Those are rays of light. I know. Okay, so now we know that the light is hitting on this side of her head more, which means the shadows are going to be on this side more. So for each section of hair, the shadows will be on this side, and this side will be lighter. And you can do this lots of different ways, but one thing you can do is for each section, follow that edge, that side that's going to be in shadow, and just draw more lines. Going with the flow of the S you originally drew. So this curve right here, where it curves in, that's going to be in more shadow than this part. So now you can go in a bit. And go always with the flow of the hair. So this section, more shadow than this section. So there will be shadow there. This section, more shadow than this section. So we go, again, with the flow of the hair. This section, more shadow. So we started with big blocks outlining the hair. Now we're basically blocking in our shadows. So we're going to go through every single section of hair that we drew and block in where the darker shadows would be. And remember, dark shadows are just a part of this drawing. So when you're going to draw something in grayscale, it's helpful to think of dark, medium, and light. So you're going to have dark shadows, medium dark shadows, and lighter areas. And as long as you have a range of gray going from dark, medium to light, you're going to get a nice sense of volume in the hair. So now, hopefully, you can see how the hair is already taking a lot of shape. This section of hair is going to be in way more light than this section of hair because it's further back. This is going to be casting a shadow on that, all these reasons. So that all is going to be darker. And then all this would be in shadow over here. And then here, this is going to be lighter than this section. But we can add little stray lines for texture if we want. We'll get back to that in just a minute. Right now, we're just blocking out our sections of hair. And we're blocking out the lighting in her hair. So, depending on the style of drawing you're going for, you could just do the pencil outline of the hair. You could just do this, which is a kind of a nice sort of roughed in, sketched out look. So you can really see still the outline, but you have a little bit more sense of volume. Her face is going to be casting a shadow right here. So light is coming from this direction. Her face, which is round, is getting in the way of the light getting all the way to the hair on this side. So there's going to be a bit more shadow over here on the hair itself, just because her face is stopping the light from getting to her hair. And then this side, we're almost there. Blocking in our shadows. And still following the S's. We're following those loose, wavy lines that we originally drew. Those are our guides. And wherever it curves in, there's a little more darkness, a little more shadow, because the light can't quite get into those nooks and crannies. So there, a little more shadow. There, a little more shadow. Here, nice curve in, a little more shadow. And there we go. Okay, so now we've added a slight sense of volume, but say you want to go next level. You did the pencil outline, you have a little bit of volume, a little bit of shading, but you really want to take this up a notch. Well, take a blender. I like to use paint brushes to blend my graphite. You don't have to. You can use any pencil blender you like. And you're going to soften those pencil marks you just did. So you don't have to be precise. You don't have to be careful. Just go ahead and go right over all those pencil lines. You won't lose the pencil lines completely. Obviously, you can still see the drawing, but this is going to soften that look. This is going to pull some of that graphite from the pencil onto the rest of the paper that's where you're drawing the hair. So instead of just having the bright white, now you're going to have a bit of gray. And it will soften the pencil line. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck when you do this sort of shading. So you can do that to really get a little bit of softer hair look going on. But remember I said dark, medium, and light. So, I mean, you could say this is the dark, that's the medium. Well, now we need some light. And to do that, take your eraser, and wherever the light is hitting the head the most, that's where you're going to erase. So we already know this side is going to be darker. Well, that means this side is going to be lighter. And just like with the pencil, you're following the outline of that section, that shape that you already drew. But now instead of doing it in lines with a pencil, you're doing it in lines with an eraser. And you're going to follow those lines that you drew already. You can do some stray highlighted lines even in darker shadows if you want. And this way you have that sense of volume and texture all happening at the same time. Just with a pencil and an eraser and a blender. So 3 tools. You just need 3 tools. I guess the paper counts as a tool. Okay, 4 tools because you need paper. You need something to draw on. That's fair. Okay, so here we go. And you can always say, oh my gosh, those eraser lines totally worked, but they're just too rough. That's fine. You can always blend eraser lines just like you blend pencil lines. So you can go back and you soften them. Go right on over the whole thing and soften the work you just did. This will blend those pencil and eraser marks together. But now you're saying, no, I want even more detail. This was okay. This is a good step, but now I want to go to the next level. Perfect. Go darker, add individual strands of hair. So say you're going to go over here. Yeah, we know this side is in the shadow. We can really push the shadows. We can add some individual stray dark bits of hair. And not just in the hair. You can go outside of those sections now. You can give her stray bits of hair. And section by section, you can add some nice dark lines. So now you're really going dark, medium, and light, getting a nice range of gray tones. You can go a little bit lighter into the rest of the section if you want more texture. And look at that, another stray hair. And if you're worried about doing the stray hairs, follow the shape of the section right next to it and just have that stray strand of hair going individually. Go over here. This section would definitely be darker because the light isn't going to get past this big bump right here. So that would be darker. And then you could do some light, gentle texture lines right in there if you want. This section would be darker. It's not going to get this past this big bump right there. So add some darker lines and some gentle texture lines in there if you want. So now you're really getting not only a sense of movement in the wavy hair, you're also getting maybe a little bit more feel for lighting, volume. It gets a little bit more realistic. This is a huge section right here. You can go in with very light, gentle, don't press down hard, pencil lines to get a little bit of texture in that. Wherever the light is really hitting, you can still go with your pencil, just very, very gently to get some texture lines. And this section, the shadow, this bump right here, because it's going in, we're going to have a bit more movement, but we can always have our little texture lines right where it's lighter. And we're following those outlined shapes that we originally drew. The ends down here, you don't have to stick to where those S's met. Remember in the very beginning we did those S's and then they met to a point? You don't have to do that anymore. Now, like I said, you can have those individual strands of hair doing their own thing. Back here, that would be in shadow, so we'll go a little darker. You can have stray strands of hair, remember, all around. This side would be more in shadow than that side, so you can go a bit heavier with the shadow if you want to. If you don't want to, if you don't want to make it really, really dark, that's fine, that's understandable. I often say don't go too dark too fast when I'm drawing. But this section would be naturally in a little more shade, so it would be a little bit darker. This section, a little more shade. This right here, remember her face is casting a shadow, so probably a bit more shade right there. Bit more shade here from her face blocking the light. And then we have this inner curve. So as long as you remember where your light is coming from, as long as you pay attention to that, you can really have fun playing with texture, drawing sections of S's, and then just building up the shadows. Again, we don't have to stick to that pointed end anymore. You can have some stray strands of hair doing their own thing. As long as you follow the S shape that you originally drew, and you can always go back. So take your blender again, say, oh my goodness, I like the dark shadow, but it's just not blending very well, it's not very smooth. Well, then go back with your blender where you put in those nice darker shadows. Just do a bit more blending, softening. And you don't have to go over the whole head again if you don't want to. Remember, in the beginning when we first did that, we just did the whole big sweeping with the blender. Now you could just go over the darker areas if you want. Wherever you want. Mid-tone gray, you could just, sweep over with your blender if you want to do that too. And now you can add some real texture. So, get this. So, wherever the lighting is really hitting, again, go back with your fine tip eraser, whatever you're using, and not only can you follow the original section shapes that we've already discussed, but you can go outside of those shapes with your eraser and draw little stray wisps of hair doing their own thing. So now you're breaking out of the outline that you originally made for yourself. Those were your guides. You don't have to color in the lines. You don't have to draw in the lines that you originally set. Now that you have a nice form built up, nice volume built up, you can break out of the very sections that you created. So this is a section right here. You can draw or erase out of that to create more texture, more movement. And this is where playing really comes in, I feel, with sketching. The more you play with drawing hair, the more you get comfortable, going outside of the original outlines and sections that you made. And you can always go back with very gentle, which means you're not pressing down hard, pencil lines. Keep and even emphasize some of those new stray strands of hair that you just drew with your eraser. Have a little fun with it. So here's an S, maybe a stray strand escapes from that. We can escape from the sections that we made. Here we did some nice stray strands of hair, so we're going to emphasize those a little bit. And just have fun with it. Remember, hair isn't just uniform. Hair is free-flowing. Hair does its own thing. You can have stray strands going outside of the sections, on the outside of the hair as well. Especially if you have wavy hair. I've had frizzy wavy hair days. Hair can move free of what it originally grew out of, to create fun new texture. You can have just a lot of fun with it. All right, well, that is it for today. This was just a quick and easy way to draw some wavy hair. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video, and stay creative.